Hey everyone, Mecha here, and this video is here to announce the next Fire Emblem draft race stream that we're going to be doing. There will not be any live gameplay in this video, but I did upload 2 videos yesterday, so you can take a look at those if you've missed one of them maybe. Real short, the next Fire Emblem draft race is going to be Fire Emblem 8, The Sacred Stones. I'm going to stream it live this Saturday, January 18th. 3 PM Eastern Time, 9 PM Central European Time. That's exactly the time I usually start streaming at on Saturdays, so if you regularly tune in for those, then you won't be missing it. The rest of this video is going to go into detail on what this is, what the rules are, who's going to be playing it, and where you can actually find these people. So, let's get into it. Here's the way a draft race works. You play with multiple people, at least 3. We're going to do 4. You take turns you take turns picking playable characters from the roster, and once a character has been picked, no one else can pick that character. This process is called drafting. The point is that everyone drafts a completely different team, and you proceed to play through the game with that team as fast as possible. Try to finish before everyone else. And when I say fast, I mean time-wise, not turn count. So you literally have to make your moves quickly. It's speedrunning, it's not LTCing. This is ridiculously fun because you don't have time to think at all. You have to improvise all the time as you make your moves. You have to make snap decisions about whether something is worth it or not, and you can only use the units you picked, so oftentimes you can't come up with a strategy in advance or rely on something you can do in your general playthroughs. And usually in drafts like this, if there's an overpowered unit in the game like Marcus or Seth, they're generally banned just to make things more interesting, but depends on the game obviously. So as I said, we're going to be playing FE8, the Sacred Stones, and we generally can't use Seth except for the first couple maps probably. The draft will be played by 4 people, me and of course 3 friends of mine. So returning from last time is kirbymastah, someone who's known for speedrunning almost every Fire Emblem game in existence. He was on the couch during this last AGDQ when Clara speedrun 3 houses. He's done some speedruns of 3 houses himself. He's done one particular route that's like all 4 routes in a row, starting from a clean game file and then using New Game Plus to keep on building on the save. Super fun, but he's also literally run every game between FE6 and 3 houses. He's done several of them on AGQ as well, so a real competitor. Gwimpage from last time is returning as well. Not a lot of people know Gwimpage. I know him from back when speedrunning FE10 was a thing, Radiant Dawn. But I know he also knows the FE9 route, he knows a couple of other FE games too. And make no mistake, Gwimpage won the FE7 race draft really badly. It wasn't even close. He started later than all of us because of technical problems, and he finished pretty long before any of us did. He crushed us really badly. I mean, everyone kept track of their own timer, so him starting late was actually a handicap, but it just shows that the fact that he finished before we did, while he started later, just goes to show what he can do. And in the 4th slot, we have a newcomer, but a lot of you probably know him already. His name is CyanYoh, Mag's designer. He's going to join us. Now, he has tried very hard in our little chat group to put himself in an underdog position because he has, as far as I know, no speedrunning experience. But he's still Jake, he's smart, he knows his way around FE8, Iron Man with 35% growth extra to an extent, so he's no stranger to challenging himself. And hey, I am living proof that you don't need to be a speedrunner to speedrun a game. Now, because my non-casual speedrunning experience is like 3 houses, Crimson Flower, New Game Plus, and that's it. And I've fucked up so many times it's unreal. So yeah, I'm not a real speedrunner, but you know, I took 2nd place last time. Maybe we can do better this time. But I fuck up all the time. Everyone's gonna fuck up. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you still don't know what to expect, just ask any of the 2,000 people who were around for the last one. It was a grand adventure. It was actually on the same night that all of Discord went down. So me and the other 3, we had to dig up Skype to call each other. And I don't know if it was the race or because people simply didn't have another place to hang out in, but we had a consistent viewership of like 1,500 to 2,000 people. It was so much fun. The race really gives everyone this kind of adrenaline, and while we were competitive, we were also just kind of having fun and helping each other out a little bit with like ideas and rule interpretations and just kind of asking like, hey, where you at right now? So it's like competitive, but not in a toxic way, but more like, you know, like, yeah, let's go. It was great. So let me go over the rules real quick, because there are rules, obviously. It's not Vietnam. It might change a bit if something comes up. We're still like talking over these a little bit occasionally, but this is what we have right now. These are the rule sets this rule set has been used before by some people, so that's where this paste bin is coming from, or this whatever I'm using in post-production. Rule number 1. This draft is for 4 players, self-explanatory. Erica, Ephraim, Orson, Tethys, and Myrrh are all free to use. This is to make sure that everyone has some viable units in every chapter and to make the math work out in the drafting. Franz and Vanessa are both draftable twice. This is because Franz and Vanessa are very far above every other unit besides Seth, and Seth is disallowed. Because otherwise it's going to be really unfair. What's going to happen is the first two people pick Franz and Vanessa, and then the third and fourth they can pick, like, I don't know, Garcia. Like, who the hell is, like, next best? It's really hard to tell. Tana, I guess? None of those come even close to Franz and Vanessa, so that is why we're doing it that way. By the way, if you're confused about the order, or you think it might be unfair, keep in mind it is snake drafting. What that means is, during the first round of drafting, everyone picks one unit, and it's going to be player 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Logical. But the next round, it goes from 4, 3, 2, 1. So, the first player, he gets first pick, but then he also gets, like, the 8th pick, basically. Whereas the last player gets the 4th pick, but also the 5th pick. So it's basically in balance. Number 4, Seth is banned starting chapter 4. We could ban him entirely, but this is just to make the first few maps quicker. And this way, people without Franz or Vanessa aren't as screwed. But you still gotta train your other units a little bit. Basically, it's a fairness rule, and I think it's nice to see an FE8 run that isn't, like, dominated by Seth, but it's nice to have him early on if you haven't gotten... Well, we have Franz and Vanessa, but if you haven't gotten that many other early game units. Number 5, the game will be played on normal mode. This might sound strange because FE8 is known for being easy, so why would we make it even easier by playing normal mode instead of hard? The reason is very simple. Normal mode is faster, and there's still plenty of ways to die or screw up. Normal mode is actually a conventional standard in speedruns for pretty much all games. 3 Houses is done on normal mode, FE6 is done on normal mode. The reason is very simple. You don't want the game to be, like, difficult in any way. You just want to know how to do it fast. It's very complicated to explain. It's very commonly asked for speedrunners, like, hey, why aren't you doing normal mode? Generally, a hard mode doesn't provide for any more entertaining speedruns. It just makes the game slower and more tedious, but it doesn't actually make the run more interesting to watch. I think we can all agree that we would all be able to beat the game on hard mode, but the question is who can beat it the fastest on normal mode. Number 6, the goal is to complete the game the fastest before anyone else. Any penalties will be added to your final time. I'll get to the time penalties in a little bit, but other than that, this is really self-explanatory. Number 7, as characters who overly suck, Amelia and Marisa will be drafted together. Ewan and La Rochelle will be drafted together as well. This is to make sure that everyone has an equal number of characters that they can use. So this is because we need the number of characters that can be drafted to be divided by 4. Because if you can't, then someone will end up with more characters than other people. And that's kind of unfair. It doesn't really matter for Amelia and Marisa and stuff, because they are probably not going to do very much anyway. Some other rules. Undrafted units may recruit characters, rescue undrafted units and NPCs, trade, visit shops and armories, and dig up items in the desert. But they may not enter combat at all, not even without a weapon, use staves, build supports, lol, rescue drafted units, and open doors and chests. Makes sense, right? So there's some things they can do, and some things they can't, and this rule explains which they can't. Pretty logical. I know why I'm talking about this. Number 3, thieves cannot steal or open locks unless they are drafted, so that's Coleman Rannoch for you. Map shopping, which means shopping on a world map, is allowed. Use of the arena skirmishes and the Tower of Ruins is allowed, because, you know, you just slow yourself down by doing it. You can either take the Erica route or Ephraim route. It's up to the player's discretion. Generally, Erica route is faster, and I expect all of us to go Erica route, but someone might be crazy enough to go Ephraim route. Maybe if he's drafted like Dusel and Cormag, there might be a reason to go Ephraim route, but generally it's slower. Done at the final save after all of your penalties are finished. That just means you're done. That's time, basically. That's when you can, like, pause the timer, because we're probably going to time ourselves. Number 8, save states are entirely banned. Duh. Number 9, use of the enemy control glitch is allowed. This is something a lot of people are going to find weird, because it's clearly an exploit of the game, or like a bug that we're making use of. But again, just like with the normal thing, the point of a speedrun is to go as fast as the game lets you. It makes some boring chapters quicker, and it's a fun way to cheese chapters, and it's something we don't really get to see or exhibit very often. So, sure, you might think of it as like cheating when you're normally beating the game, but again, this is not about beating the game, it's about beating the game as fast as possible, and it's not really cheating if all of us are allowed to do it, basically. We agreed on this rule set. So try not to go like all, oh my god, cheating, they're using the mind glitch, because, you know, it's allowed. In this case, there's actually no mind glitch in this game because there's no mines, but we can use the torch glitch, which is basically the same thing, but it only works in Fog of War maps. Penalties. If you use a unit you're not allowed to, you have to take a time penalty, and we can either do this by like having to add stuff to the timer at the end of the run, But we think it's more fun and better for our sanity if instead you just have to, not play the game for these penalties. So if you use an undrafted unit, have them do something they're not allowed to do, like see combat, you have to take 5 minutes off for each character per chapter. So if I were to use, let's say I didn't draft Lutz and then I used her to MLG snipe some character, I have to take a 5-minute penalty at some point. I can figure out for myself when I want to do it. Maybe I have to go to the bathroom or something, but either way I have to do it at some point during the run or after the run. And it's a good excuse for a bathroom break or an excuse to just go watch someone, but I have to take 5 minutes off if I use an illegal character. Seth, instead, you have to take 8 minutes off because, well, Seth might actually be worth a 5-minute penalty, and you don't want to incentivize people to use characters that are illegal. So, in summary, this Saturday, 3 PM Eastern, join me live on YouTube, this channel. Ring the bell if you haven't already. You should also subscribe and or follow the following people: kirbymastah, Gwimpage, and Jake. I'll post all their channels below in the description. Their Twitches or YouTube, whatever is applicable to them. We're going to be drafting live, and then we're going to be racing in the call. I expect the whole thing will probably last 2 to 3 hours. FE8 is kind of short, but drafting also takes a little while. There might be technical difficulties. It might not be as easy as it seems. So, I don't know, free up your schedule because it's going to be a blast. And again, just ask anyone who was there. It was really, really fun last time. I hope to see you all there. And peace, have fun, bye, peace off.